Middle Eastern crisis going on, and oil prices has been going up steadily.
Wow, Ben, this picture I saw very messy one
Yes.
How to fix this
Yeah, this is called cut and play, not plug and play. And if you don't have the plug and play connector, then the wires will need to be cut. Okay, and if that person cuts the wrong wire, they may cut the CAN bus wire.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our Plug-in podcast by Plug and Play guys. Today we are gonna have Peter back. Welcome back,
Hi.
Peter. We've done a week with your colleague Kaylen. It was a
Yeah.
very interesting podcast. But today's podcast is relevant to what's happening here in Malaysia. As you know, there are some Middle Eastern crisis going on, and oil prices has been going up steadily. I think I'll show you a chart that the current oil price, the non-subsidy oil price, is 427, which is a big increase in price. I think from 260, if I'm not wrong, since February, before the war, basically. So I think today what we're going to talk about is how Malaysians are considering getting EV as a solution to the oil price. Our talking point today are how people think of car audio systems in EV, and we'll try to debunk some myths along the way. So, what is your experience in EV cars? I mean, EV cars in your shop. Is that a big amount, or what is your
There
take?
is starting to become more EV cars coming in. Okay, and I think it's part of the reason also some of these EV owners are a bit scared now to do up the car because of various factors. Because it's a fully electric car, it may be complicated to work on, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that brings us to the first myth. I think a lot of these EV car owners would think that installing a car audio system into their cars will lower their range, will kill their battery somehow. True?
Not really, because nowadays if we are not talking about putting in 4-5 amplifiers and that in the past. Nowadays just one plug and play DSP-M, it doesn't take up a lot of power, especially with class D. It's very efficient. So the amount of power consumed is negligible. The EV owners, the range is still there, and also the other thing about it is we have tried many EV customers after putting in the system. They don't even notice the range drop for them. Hardly.
Yeah, which is good news because a lot of people. I mean, when I speak to a few of my friends, that drives EV, they always feel that they do not want to further decrease their range. I think a lot of these EV cars, when they publish a certain amount of range, people don't actually get that. So they have this range anxiety. Even myself, I drive an EV. And I still get that range anxiety. So having any sort of additional electrical item, I'll be scared. But I have fully done up my car, and I too do not notice any drop in range performance. So then of course there is this second point, whereby how is it that plug and play system suits this EV better than traditional setup? I mean, aside from consuming electricity, I'd like to show you a picture of some wiring we could get from. I mean, this is not EV car, But this is one of the talking points, you see, because I think plug and play sound system will suit most of these EV car owners purely because you do not get messy wiring, right? I'll show you a picture here that I got from, I think I got it from one of the comments.
Wow, Ben, this picture I saw very messy one
Yes.
How to fix this
Yeah, Peter, I mean, have a look and tell me what do you think?
Oh, yeah. Because the gray color connector, they don't use plug and play, and hence they cut the wiring right next to the connector. So they connected the white wires to it. Yeah, this is called cut and play, not plug and play. The actual way to do it would be to get the mating connector to the gray color connector there to plug it in.
So with these plug and play cables, I mean, for EV cars especially, I don't think you can do this sort of wiring for.
Well, you can. I mean, in a sense that if it's the speaker wires, if you cut
Yeah.
but you need to know which wires to cut so it'd be dangerous to go cut the wrong wire, and then warranty issues as well After you cut it, you won't be able to rejoin the wire to look like original. You see.
I see. I see. But I mean, you would strongly discourage that.
Of course,
I mean,
of
the
course.
whole point, I think, of plug
Yeah.
and play system is to
Yeah.
have it not just safe, but then we try to protect the electrical system of the car,
Yes,
especially
yes.
when EV is
Yes,
concerned.
yes.
I also know that there is this A to B connection which comes with a lot of these DSP amps that actually provide a complete integration with the car. Can you explain a bit about how this A to B works?
Okay. This before we even talk about the A to B,
Yeah.
it's more towards most of these EV cars most of them will, because and majority of them are Chinese.
Yeah.
Okay, and they tend to put in an amplifier into to work together with the head unit normally it's a LCD screen okay, and hence they use the amplifier to make it sound better to all the speakers. So in that amplifier, it also has like active noise cancellation to make the car quieter, or certain models will also have like some fake engine noise to make it feel like a engine
real car,
like a real car. You see, now so whenever we put in our additional amplifier to make plug and play make it sound better, the active noise cancellation may be disturbed. Okay, and you may get a loop back of sound when if you install the subwoofer kind of thing, you see, and hence the A to B protocol is adopted by the Chinese. A lot of the Chinese cars have the A to B protocol, and for our DSPs to go in, okay, it's a means to bypass the original amp so that the active noise cancellation and the fake engine noise, that sort of thing, will not cause a problem to our car audio when we upgrade it. Okay, so nowadays there are more people looking into A to B that protocol so that they can work in a car audio system, a plug and play car audio system, without having this problem.
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting that you actually brought up all these functions of EV cars, a fake engine noise, and
Yeah.
because the car itself is actually very quiet,
Yes.
because I drive one, sometimes I don't even know whether I can accelerate or not because you don't hear the engine noise.
Yeah.
Because traditional cars, you can actually hear the engine,
Yes.
and then it has got that little rumble to tell you that
Yes.
engine is on. But with EVs, you don't get any of that.
Yeah.
So I mean that brings us to why I think car owners should consider having a car audio system in the car, because it's perfect for audio listening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whatever it's so quiet that whatever music that you get or whatever audio system that you have in your car,
Yeah.
it's gonna sound 10x clearer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I sat in some stock system EV cars. They actually sound not bad. I don't know whether it's because that it's so quiet that you can get to hear.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest issue I have is that you don't get any staging. You get sound coming out from the speakers. In these EV cars, I've said quite a few. The speakers actually sound very decent, but the biggest problem I have is the sound coming from, say, the bottom part of the car.
Mhm.
You know, I still think that this is why a DSPM would play a important role.
Yeah.
Because it fixes the time alignment
Yeah.
as well as a certain amount of equalization. It will actually bring the music up like a stage, like a live stage.
Yeah. Well, most of the time, for the newer generation of cars, especially the EV cars like Tesla, or even like BYD, which we work on a lot, like Tesla, we will retain the original speakers
Yeah.
and put in a plug and play DSP, uplift the soundstage, all right, and in a way tune it so that you have a certain amount of staging to be heard, and then maybe add a subwoofer to give it a bit of bass, and then it sounds very good already that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have done a lot of Teslas this way. We have done a lot of Teslas by using this method. Okay, and a lot of the Chinese EV cars, I noticed that the standard speakers that come with the car are quite good already. Okay,
I don't know whether is it because they are good or just because the car is so quiet that there's got no disturbance to the sound that
Oh.
comes out.
Yeah.
Traditional cars, right? You get a lot of these
Yeah.
petrol engine noise.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't. It will affect the sound
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
a lot. So, but in any case, they all sound pretty decent. Even the BYDs, surprisingly.
Yes.
But of course, I still think that with a DSP, at least with a DSP, you are able to get the sound stage, like what we spoke
Yes,
about.
yes.
We want to listen to the music right in front of us, not at the bottom or on the left hand side.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there is this resale value of having a plug and play system in EV cars. Because the way I look at it, EV cars will be like handphones
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah.
Once time is up, you have to get rid of it. I still remember when they introduced the handphone business. I remember you can hold on to that mobile for quite long, but not today. Today there is a constant upgrade or constant change of handphones. It becomes a lifestyle, right? So I think EV cars will reach the point where we change it after maybe 5 to 8 years. I don't know. The good thing about having all these DSPMs is because it's plug and play, you can always remove and move it on to the next car, right?
Wah, the technology will be so fast, the evolution will be so fast that every raya, the one fella will always upgrade every raya, every CNY.
We hope so. That will be. I don't think the DSP will move like how handphones are today in terms of technology, but I'm pretty sure that what you used 5 years ago is still very usable today, right? So I think they have a longer lifespan,
Yeah.
probably just as long as the future EVs.
Mm.
So anything else you might want to add? For our listeners, in regards to.
Well, I would say because of the advent of plug and play and it being so convenient to implement, so for EV car owners, you can seriously consider putting in a DSPM which is very efficient, will not affect the range, will not affect the warranty because it's plug and play.
Yeah.
Okay, and also use that to uplift the sound staging in the car and make it sound a whole lot better, just like a petrol car, like what we do now. So that's nothing special about an EV car that will stop you from doing this plug and play upgrade lah.
Actually-
Definitely you can do it.
Yeah, actually, I think plug and play is suited to EV cars very much, more than the traditional cars. Because traditional cars, you can still have all these complicated system. Whereas I feel that EV, because it is running on the basis of simplicity, techy, it should have the plug and play system. And it's so easy and carefree. I think for EV car owners, they should seriously consider it.
There's also another thing that the DSP manufacturers they also have taken into consideration that these items will be used in the EV car. For example, like the Tesla, is the power that we take from it is not 12 volts, it is 16 volts, you see. And so the DSPs that we put in has to be able to handle at least 16 watts or slightly higher than that.
Which they do now.
Yeah. Okay. But in the past, certain certain amplifiers, even certain amplifiers, can only handle up to 14 to 15 volts, not so high lah. Okay. So in that sense, manufacturers are also making allowance so that it can be installed into higher voltage cars now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, thank God for all these suppliers. I mean, they are trying to keep up with the trend and the times. I think EV will become more and more popular. Especially with the oil price issue that we have. I think even in Malaysia, I think last year there's an increase of 109%. That means it's a big jump. And they forecast that this year would be another 100% increase. So we will have more and more EV cars on the road.
Yeah.
I think I hope today's podcast would help some of these EV car owners answer some of their questions and concerns.
Okay, so before we end this, I found a few comments from our previous posts. Okay, there, boss. I sent it to you.
Okay, we have a comment from one of our followers, and it's in bahasa, so I'll just read it out. Kalau tak silap, kereta sekarang banyak pakai sistem CAN bus. Wire tak banyak serabut macam kereta lama. Banyak ECU yang control. Tu yang mentor brake terbakar pun kereta tak hidup. Lagi bahaya kalau looping wire boleh ganggu sistem CAN high-low. Rasanya lah. So I think what Afiq is asking about ECU controls in a car. I think he was referring about messy wiring and how these new cars with ECU it's using CAN bus.
Yeah.
So
Definitely the CAN bus, even at the amp, when there is CAN bus wires going into the amp to control the amplifier lah. Okay. However, because the amplifier you need a plug and play connector at the amplifier, you see. All right. And if you don't have the plug and play connector, then the wires will need to be cut. Okay. And if that person cuts the wrong wire, they may cut the CAN bus wire. And then there will be problems. If we're not careful, they may short the wires and cause one thing, the amp to burn, or even the supplying signal from the player to burn. Okay, there are many problems that can arise. by
So
doing that.
cars with these ECU are mostly European cars, lah, right?
Oh, yeah, well, I would say
A big
in
chunk
fact,
of
in
it.
all the cars nowadays, even the EV cars, they have it already.
Mm.
So you need to avoid cutting the wires so that you don't cut the wrong wire.
Okay.
If you don't cut any wires, definitely you will not cut any wrong wires. Okay, correct?
So
then
basically-
you plug it in.
So basically, just use plug and play cables, to
Yeah,
avoid
it's
all the
much
issues.
safer. It's
Yeah,
much
wise
safer.
words from Peter, yeah.
Yeah. But then also when we work, the installer also needs to be careful.
Yeah.
Because certain plug and play cables will fit a different car. The connectors, they look the same,
Yeah.
but the wiring is different. So you need to be careful. You don't just take a different car's connector and you plug it in and treat it as plug and play.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
you must
yeah,
have the experience.
So
It does plug in.
Yeah.
But you would think that it's for this car, but it's actually not. The wiring, it is not, you see.
Yeah. So that's where your experience comes in, lah.
So you need
because
to be careful.
This
You
is
need to be
the-
careful.
Yeah. So this is the installer's job, lah.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Peter,
You're welcome.
for coming onto our podcast again. We will have more questions next time. I think we'll spend some time answering some of these comments that we get
Yeah.
on our page. Before we end this podcast, I would like to ask everyone: should we move to change to EV cars today because of the oil prices? Please comment on below. Okay, well, thank you for watching and listening to our podcast. Hope to catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye bye.